What's going on, everybody? Goofy Rexy here, your resident chief to play and your mid-game player. So obviously we got a rework for the Avengers. Super excited about the rework. I actually really like the team. I think they're going to be formidable, in a lot of key areas in this game. But one of the things that I was paying attention to and realizing that when it comes to their kit, there is some specific investment that you need to put into them in order for them to be successful, overall in the areas that you need them to be. So we're going to go over that today. We're going to talk about some T4s, the recommended T4s that I have for them. Right now, as you can see, I do have Vision, on this team. Not that he's the necessary required fifth member, but I do think that he works relatively well, especially if you already do have Ironheart on your power armor team. But yeah, so we're going to be going over the T4 investments that I think that are my recommended T4 investments that I think that this team needs in order for them to take it up to that next level. All right. But before we dive right into it, first and foremost, guys, thank you so much for the support that you've been showing to this channel so far. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Would really help to support me and support the channel. Also making sure that, more subscribers, and then also make sure that these videos do get to reach the right people that do need to hear about the content I'm talking about. And also, if you guys could leave a like and leave a comment too as well, that really helps. And also, just a quick reminder, I do stream on Twitch Tuesday through Friday nights, 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9, and then Wednesdays and Fridays at 10. And then also my other links are down below, my Twitter link as well as my Discord link too as well. So hop on in there too as well and come talk to me about what it is that you guys want to talk about too. All right, but let's dive right into it. Oh, my bad. One more thing. We're not going to be talking about any recommended T4s on Thor or on Iron Man because they don't need them. So, yeah, cool. All right, so we're here on the MSF.gg page. So let's just dive right into Captain America's recommended T4s, and we'll talk about a little bit about why. So he does have his ultimate here, which is shield throw. So initially this attacks the primary target for 280% damage, and then also clears positive effects. Does the same when he attacks either an additional 2 to 3 additional targets for 210%, but it then also clears the positive effects as well. And if his character has one or more Wave 1 Avenger allies, then he gains a plus a 30% speed bar. Now, when you do put a T4 on this ability, he increases his damage output a little bit by 20%, not really big, on both ends. So primary target as well as the additional targets that he attacks. Still definitely does keep the clear to 2 positive effects, so nothing increases on the clearing the positive effects. But what does happen is that he does have this extra now 30% speed bar. For remember, before it was at 30, and then now we have it at 60%. Now, in general, Captain America is a fast tank, and he is going to be your primary tank. So I do understand that you probably don't want to speed up Captain America. But there are, I think, a few key reasons as to why you do want to speed up Captain America. With his special attack, which is Inspire, he gains taunt and he gains defense up on himself. He also then does apply defense up to all of the allies. Well, it says up to 10 allies, which is pretty much more than going to cover the amount of allies that you're going to have with Captain America anyways. But then he also does grant this additional 1 ability energy to 1 or 2 Avenger allies, or to 1 or 2 random allies too as well. So we want his speed bar to go up so that he can do either this special ability to give defense up when you have characters like Hawkeye and Black Widow who do have low health pools. You do want to make sure that those characters are able to sustain, because they're going to do some really good things for you on this team, so you want them to stay alive for as long as possible. And also you want to make sure that he's doing this attack so that he is able to give out additional energy. That's going to be important for this team too as well, so that they can also do additional abilities that can help out the remainder of the team. So that's one of the reasons why I think that this is a recommended T4, because it does increase the speed bar. And even if it's just to increase the speed bar so that he can do this attack again, right, where he can clear 2 positive effects again, or that he can clear 2 positive effects on the primary target, or clear 2 positive effects on the additional targets too as well. It's definitely still something that I think would be beneficial for the entirety of the team. Additionally, with his passive ability Assemble, he has 25% block chance, 10% block amount, plus 20% block chance per Avenger ally. Really good. On death of any Wave 1 Avenger ally, he heals all allies for 10% of this character's max health. Then he also does gain 20% max health with this ability, and then he also gives Wave 1 Avenger allies 20% max health too as well. Now, when you do increase this T4, It increases his block amount by 10%, which is good, up to 20%. Then it also increases the max health that is gained. Now, this is primarily in war, which is probably where you're going to use this team anyways, right? Either on war offense or on war defense. It does the same in both scenarios. You're going to gain that 20% max health for him, so now you're going up to 40% max health, and then you're also getting that increased 20% max health to your wave 1 Avenger allies. Once again, good, you're giving additional energy now, you're giving additional health now to Hawkeye and to Black Widow, which are 2 key members on your team, and you're also giving additional health to Captain America as well, who is going to be your primary tank and your primary damage taker on that unit. So having increased health is also going to be helpful. And of course, if any wave 1 Avenger ally does die, then he does heal all allies for 10% of this character's max health. Obviously, with the increased health, he's going to do that 10% is going to be significantly more, right? Makes sense. All right, so let's talk about Black Widow. So for Black Widow, we're specifically only talking about one recommended T4, but we'll go through the honorable mention T4 too as well. So primary T4 would be Saboteur. So Saboteur is your gain 10% speed for her, and then this is applied after any character has taken an action. So it doesn't matter who it is. Any character that takes an action, hers or the enemies, she gets that 10% speed. On stealth, she gains offense up, and then she also applies death proof to Hawkeye, of course, which she does with her special ability. She does gain that stealth, so every time she does her special, she is going to give death proof to Hawkeye. Fantastic. She also does do 15%. She gains 50% chance to gain assist now on an allied Hawkeye's turn, which I think is very important and the reason why we want to actually upgrade this T4. When you upgrade this to a T4, she gains that 15% speed. She gains additional 5% speed, so it was 10 before, so now she's up to 15% speed. But then she also gains assist now on an allied Hawkeye's turn. So previously before, it was 50% chance for her to gain that assist now, but now she is gaining that assist now on Hawkeye's turn every single time. Why is that important? When she does gain an assist now, she's attacking the primary target for 184% damage. Not a lot of damage, but the important thing is that she is going to clear one positive effect every single time that she does assist. So fantastic to be able to have her, number one, assist 100% of the time, which means more damage, but then also she is going to clear a positive effect, which is another really good thing about her particular kit that I really do love. Now, for the honorable mention, I did talk about her special, which is Camouflage Tech. She does gain stealth for 2 turns, she clears all negative effects from self, and then she applies speed up to self and all shield and Avenger allies for 2 turns. Really cool to be able to get speed up. And here we are again, Captain America speeding up again, the rest of the team now speeding up again. She does also have this 60% chance to apply speed up to all allies for 2 turns. If you do put a T4 on this, then she does have this additional thing here where she clears 1 negative effect from Avenger allies. That is pretty key because they don't have a cleanser, right? So being able to have someone that can clear positive effects, Black Widow is very fast. She's probably the highest base stat character in terms of speed in this game. So having her being able to clear a negative effect frequently by using Camouflage Tech, because once again, it costs 3 energy and she starts off with it. So she's going to be able to do this multiple times throughout a match. Being able to have her clear 1 negative effect from all the Avenger allies, because like I said, with this team not having anyone to cleanse, I think is a pretty good thing to be able to put a T4 into if you do have extra T4s. But my main recommended T4 would be Saboteur. All right, so let's talk now about Hawkeye. Now, when we look at Hawkeye's kit is very different, super good, very good utility character. We're going to go through what I think is his primary recommended T4 and then what I think is a very nice solid T4 for him to have. So first, the one that I think is the most important T4 for him is his special attack. So right now, Concussion Arrow, he attacks the primary and adjacent targets for 140% damage plus reduced speed bar by 20%, which is huge. That speed bar is absolutely huge in this game. So reducing the speed bar by 20% and then clearing 3 positive effects. When you do equip this as a T4, the damage goes up by 10%. Once again, not much, right? But he does reduce the speed, and it continues to reduce the speed bar by 20%, by negative 20%. That doesn't change. But this is, I think, is a very key thing, is that he now is able to clear positive effects from the team. So typically you're probably gonna get or hit 3 targets with this, right? For the most part, you're gonna hit 3 targets with this. So he's going to clear all positive effects. So it doesn't matter how many positive effects. Before, this was only gonna clear 3 positive effects. There are a lot of debuff heavy teams, especially when you're talking about war, especially when you're talking about, things like maybe even raids. Like if you're using this team in raids, this is going to be a big T4 to use because he's going to clear all positive effects, which I think is very, very, very important for you to have equipped on Hawkeye. Now, this one right here is it's kind of a cool T4 to have. I don't necessarily, you might be able to get away with not putting a T4 on this, but I do recommend this one because of this reason. So on turn, attack the most injured enemy with stealth for 170% damage plus clear stealth. Jeez. This attack is unavoidable. 50% chance to gain assist now on an allied Black Widow's turn. So as you remember before, the passive with Black Widow means that she's then able to attack every single time that Hawkeye does do an attack. But then also as well, if you do equip this T4, he gains 100% chance. He does do a little bit more damage, 30% more damage to that stealth character, but then he also now 100% will gain an assist now on Black Widow's turn every single time that Black Widow does a turn. Now, what does he do, right? He attacks the primary target for 120% plus 35% piercing damage, gains 10% crit for this attack. But really, the biggest thing is just additional damage, right? You're getting 2 attacks every single time when Hawkeye or Black Widow does an attack. Obviously, there's a higher benefit if Black Widow attacks because she's going to clear a positive effect every single time from the enemy. But still, I do think that this is a pretty good T4 to have, and that's why I recommended it for Hawkeye. So now, let's talk about Hulk. So for Hulk, we had some honorable mentions. I don't necessarily think you have to put any T4s into him, but there are definitely a few T4s that I think would be helpful for him. And I didn't mention before, I said his special, his passive would be honorable mentions, but we can talk about his ultimate too as well. But once again, this is up to you. I don't think you have to put any into him, but I do think that there's some that could be helpful if you're going to be bringing this team up to some super high power level, right? So that's the reason why we're going to go through this. So with his special ability, he gains taunt. If an ally is in wave 1 Avenger, he gains 3% counter. He then clears 3 negative effects from self, and if this character's health is below 50%, he heals for 7,000 health plus the 20% max health. When you do equip a T4 on this, he does then clear all negative effects from self. Now, this is a very selfish in a way T4. I always look at T4s that can be beneficial for a specific character, but then also more so beneficial for an entire team as well. So this is kind of a selfish T4, but he does gain taunt. And because he does gain taunt, he is going to then probably at times take on a lot of negative effects. So him being able to clear all negative effects himself can be good. He might not get more than 3 negative effects anyways though, because he has pretty decent resistance, and he does also gain extra resistance here, 250% extra resistance already with his passive. So he's probably not going to get a lot of negative effects thrown on him anyways, while he is taunting, so it might not necessarily be a T4 that you need, but I just mention it anyways because you have the opportunity to clear all negative effects from himself. So I think it's a relatively decent, T4 if you are bringing this team up to like these really super high level. Now the next move that I have here is his ultimate, and I think this one is actually probably the most beneficial if you were to put a T4 into him. He attacks the primary target for 330% damage and the adjacent enemies for 190% damage currently as it stands. If this character is below 50% health, then you multiply the damage by 1.5. When you do equip a T4 onto this, it doesn't change the primary attack damage, but it does change the adjacent enemies damage by 70%, which typically I'm not really great on T4s for damage, but 70% is pretty significant damage increase, especially if you are saving this attack for when he actually goes below 50% health. Not primarily because of the 1.5, that definitely does help, but because of his passive where he does gain offense up when he does drop below 50%. If you're now getting offense up with this 330% damage and then the additional 260% damage to the adjacent targets or the adjacent ally enemies, then that offense up with this ability does become quite significant for you. So I do think that this could be a T4 that you use. If you were to put a T4 into him, I would say this would be the one to go for, just because if you're using it in the right way, where you're letting him get below 50%, you're letting him get that offense up, then I think this is probably a good T4 for you that's going to work and going to do a lot of damage, especially considering that Hulk is really their primary damage dealer on this team. I do think that that is a pretty good T4. That's the only T4 that I would recommend primarily for Hulk. When we're looking at his passive dropping below 50%, we talked about it already. Fill speed bar by 100, gain offense up, clear stun from himself. On dropping below 25%, he also then does gain death proof. And then when an enemy attacks a wave 1 Avenger, his speed bar goes up by 10%. Hulk is going to be very good, I believe, because of that increased speed bar and the ability to attack a little bit more. He also gains armor, and of course, we talked about this already, the 250% extra resistance. If you do put a T4 on this, it fills his speed bar by 100%, which could be viable, but once again, not really recommend a T4. If I were to put a T4 into Hulk, I would say the only one that I would really consider would be his leap ability, but once again, with him already getting the offense up, might not be something that you want to put a lot of effort into, but if you were, then I would say, listen, that's a T4 and I would recommend. So listen, these are my recommended T4s, guys. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say, what you guys are thinking here. Those are just, like I said, my recommended ones. I think that these will work really well for the team. Overall, I think the team is really good. I just think that you need to invest like 5 or maybe 6 T4s for them to really take it to that next level and to be a strong war offense and a strong war defense team for you. And of course, you got to find a 5th member. Thor and Iron Man, they do have their own teams respectively. There is Vision that is kind of without a home. There is Captain Marvel, who a lot of people use the Young Avengers team, and then there also is Black Panther, who I think is another damage dealer that does gain offense up too, that I think, and does gain speed bar on kills. So that's another quick kind of member that you can add to this team too as well. But this is just talking about T4s, guys. But thank you guys so much. Love to hear what your guys thoughts are. Thank you so much for listening to the video, watching the video. Let me know what your thoughts are again, and of course, be safe and be blessed.